It's Monday, the 18th of April, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories to rip through in 5 minutes, so let's get into it. Story number 1, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has locked in his key post-election ministerial positions, and really the big change here is South Australian Senator Anne Ruston to replace Greg Hunt as the Health Minister.
Yes, that's assuming they win the election. It's all about trying to look like a settled team. Now, the odds of the coalition winning the election have certainly shortened after last week and Anthony Albanese's performance. The Prime Minister's move to nominate Senator Ruston means voters will know exactly who will get the big jobs if the coalition wins. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese has suggested he'll keep the same team in place, though Deputy Leader Richard Marles is likely to move back to defence, meaning something for Brendan O'Connor, not quite sure what. Now, much of the debate over the weekend was around the Liberal candidate for Warringah, Catherine Deeves. Ms Deeves has apologised for comments she made about transgender women competing in female sports. She's broadly against it, but the opposition has jumped on her views. Ms Deeves was a captain's pick by Mr Morrison for the seat formerly held by Tony Abbott and now held by independent Zali Steggall. Not helping yesterday was Minister for Women, Marise Payne, refusing to endorse the Liberal candidate for Warringah.
All right, on to story number 2, and big news for the travel industry over the weekend, Sean, with the ban on cruise ships expiring yesterday.
Yes, at least in Sydney anyway. The COVID-19 outbreak aboard the Ruby Princess is one of those seminal moments in the coronavirus period. That particular outbreak spilled into Sydney once the vessel docked. It was one of the worst outbreaks of the virus over the past 2 years, triggered the ban. Cost the industry about $10 billion, according to the Cruise Lines International Association. Now, the industry at its peak created about 18,000 jobs. About 1.6 million passengers visited Australia on cruises. Anyway, it's back. P&O Cruises' Pacific Explorer vessel is due in Sydney today. Other states will make their own decisions on when to reopen to the vessels.
Sean, story number 3, we love a bit of speculation about big companies, and there are plenty of media reports around that AMP is looking to split up its AMP Capital business.
According to the Australian, Michael, AMP is moving away from a spin-off of its marquee private markets unit, with talks to offload the bulk of the local real estate operations to investment house Dexus and its offshore infrastructure unit to Apollo Global Management or Digital Bridge Group. Now, the move marks a shift away from AMP's original plans for a demerger that would have left its funds unit, now rebranded as Collimate Capital, with about $44 billion in assets under management. We'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, we will. All right. Story number 4. This is a fascinating story. And Elon Musk just keeps on delivering great stories to talk about. But he is already facing some serious opposition in his bid to buy Twitter.
Yes. After lots of toing and froing last week, he finally made a bid, about $43 billion for Twitter, and then he wants to take it private. Now, he already owns 9% of it. While Musk is currently worth around $250 billion, finding cash around $43 billion worth of cash ain't that easy. Also over the weekend, Twitter deployed a so-called poison pill plan. It allows shareholders other than Musk to buy additional stock at a discounted price. Now that floods the market with shares, making it more difficult for Musk to gain control. And according to the Washington Post, neither the Twitter board nor employees are particularly happy with the idea. So Elon Musk might want Twitter, but I'm not sure Twitter wants Elon Musk. A ways to go there.
What a fascinating problem to have, and probably not one that most of us can really identify with. Having $250 billion but not being able to actually find the cash for $43 billion.
Yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it? It's probably, he and Jeff Bezos. Otherwise, no one else in the world could do it.
That's about right. All right, last story, Sean, and on a much more serious note, billionaire Roman Abramovich has travelled to Kiev in a bid to restart the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, which stalled after evidence emerged of Russian atrocities against civilians.
Abramovich met with Ukrainian negotiators to discuss ways of reviving the talks, according to Bloomberg. The Russian billionaire, who has long-time ties to President Vladimir Putin, has been acting as an informal mediator since the war began in late February. Back then, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky asked him to get involved. Meanwhile, Russia has stepped up airstrikes on Kiev after 2 weeks of relative calm in the Ukrainian capital, and Moscow has said it's in full control of the ruined port of Mariupol, although some Ukrainian fighters are still resisting. Ukraine's President Zelensky said the situation in Mariupol is inhuman and called on the West to immediately provide heavy weapons.
All right, there we go. Our top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Monday, the 18th of April, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if you're after something a bit longer or some terrific interviews, look for our other podcast called Fear and Greed. On your podcast platform, I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.